Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat from Arizona, just did something that should happen in every confirmation hearing for every nominee. He asked for yes or no. He asked for true or false. He asked Pete Hegseth, the nominee for Secretary of Defense, to confirm or deny specific allegations about his conduct.
So while leading concerned veterans of America, there were very specific cases cited by individuals about your conduct. I'm going to go through a few of them, and I just want you to tell me if these are true or false. Very simple.
And Hegseth's answer to every single one was the same: anonymous smears. But they weren't anonymous. Kelly named the events. Memorial Day 2014 in Virginia, carried out for being intoxicated. Summer 2014 in Cleveland, drunk in public. An event in North Carolina, drunk in front of 3 young female staff members after instituting a no-alcohol policy. December 2014 at the CVA Christmas party in D.C., noticeably intoxicated, carried up to his room. A party bus where he passed out. A strip club in Louisiana with young female staff members. A financial settlement with a female staffer who accused another member of the organization of sexual assault at that strip club. Hegseth called them anonymous smears.
Absolutely not anonymous smears.
But Kelly had names. He had on-the-record statements. He had a pattern of behavior that Hegseth himself has admitted involved heavy drinking and personal challenges. Kelly's question was devastating. Which is it? Have you overcome personal issues, or are you the target of a smear campaign? It can't be both. If you've overcome them, you can acknowledge them. If they're smears, you can deny them. But Hegseth did neither.
Have you overcome personal issues, or are you the target of a smear campaign? It can't be both. It's clear to me that you're not being honest with us or the American people because you know the truth would disqualify you from getting the job.
He hid behind anonymous and false and refuted. And when Kelly asked if his answers would be different under oath, Hegseth refused to answer. That is not transparency. That is not accountability. That is a man who knows the truth would disqualify him. Let's watch. I'll break it down.
Captain Mark Kelly, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations on your chairmanship. I want to make a request to the committee that we have a second round of questions.
Pursuant to the bipartisan staff agreement that we reached late last year, this will be one round of 7-minute questions.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll be happy to recognize my colleague, Mr. Reed.
I think it's important to note for the record that when Secretary Hagel was here, we had 3 rounds of questioning. When Secretary Carter was here, we had 2 rounds of questioning. And I cannot recall any time where I have denied, as the chairman, a member to ask for a second round and receive the second round. So we are, I think, violating the principles of the committee, and I just want to go on the record.
And your comment is noted.
Thank you.
Mr. Hegseth, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your service to this country.
Thank you, Senator.
Few nominees come into this room with all the necessary experience to do this job, to be Secretary of Defense. We get that. It's a reflection on just how big of a job this is. What I want to understand is whether or not you bring any of the necessary experience that this job requires. And here's where I'm concerned. Senator Coleman, in introducing you, and this is a quote, he said, "He has struggled and overcome great personal challenges," unquote. You walk in here saying that you've had personal and character issues in your past, including heavy drinking, which you wrote about. And you said, and this is a quote from you, that you said, "I sit before you as an open book." Yet you haven't actually said what personal challenges it is that you've overcome when you've been asked about them. So I'm going to give you an opportunity here to be as forthright as you say you want to be. So while leading concerned veterans of America, there were very specific cases cited by individuals about your conduct. I'm going to go through a few of them, and I just want you to tell me if these are True or false? Very simple. On Memorial Day 2014, at a CVA event in Virginia, you needed to be carried out of the event for being intoxicated.
Senator, anonymous
True.
smears.
Just true or false? Very simple. Summer of 2014 in Cleveland, drunk in public with the CVA team.
Anonymous smears.
I'm just asking for true or false questions, true or false answers. An event in North Carolina, drunk in front of 3 young female staff members after you had instituted a no alcohol policy and then reversed it. True or false?
Anonymous smears.
December of 2014 at the CVA Christmas party at the Grand Hyatt at Washington, D.C., you were noticeably intoxicated and had to be carried up to your room. Is that true or false?
Anonymous smears.
Another time, a CVA staffer stated that you passed out in the back of a party bus. Is that true or false?
Anonymous smears.
In 2014, while in Louisiana on official business for CVA, did you take your staff, including young female staff members, to a strip club?
Absolutely not. Anonymous smears.
So, is it accurate that the organization reached a financial settlement with a female staffer who claimed to be at a strip club with you, and there was a colleague who attempted to sexually assault her? Was there a financial settlement?
Senator, I was not involved in that. I don't know the nature of how that played out.
But you understand there was a financial settlement for a young female staffer who accused another member of the organization, not you, of sexual assault in a strip club.
We have multiple statements on the record referring to that.
But you claim you were not there when that occurred.
Absolutely not.
Now, the behavior I cited, if true, do you think that this behavior of intoxication, going into these type of establishments, women on your staff being so uncomfortable that they have to file these sort of harassment claims, do you think this is appropriate behavior for a leader?
Senator, the overwhelming majority of anyone who's worked for me, including the on-the-record statements that have been submitted to this, with their name on it, on the record, men and women who worked with me every day, are the overwhelming preponderance of evidence that testify to my leadership and professionalism in leading Vets for Freedom and Concerned Veterans for America.
Okay.
My leadership has been completely impugned on these veterans organizations that did fantastic work.
Mr.
on behalf
Hegseth,
of the
I'm not
men
even
and
going to
women
go
fighting
into the.
overseas
I'm not even going to go into the
and advocating, and we manage our
accusations.
financial books with integrity across the board. How many people? Everybody who runs a campaign.
I have limited time. I'm not going to get into the accusations that come from Fox News. I know you have some of your Fox News colleagues here. There were multiple instances of accusations against you about drinking on the job.
All anonymous,
coming in.
all false, all refuted by my colleagues who I worked with for 10 years at 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and everything
The
in
challenge
between,
here for me,
and
Mr.
said
Hegseth,
they've only seen me be professional
is when there is
every
discussion
single time.
about personal challenges, and you admittedly had issues with heavy drinking. It's hard to kind of square this, to square the circle here. It's kind of a difficult thing to do. Let me ask you, if I have about 90 seconds left here, if you had to answer these questions about sexual assault against you and your drinking and your personal conduct, would it have been different if you were under oath?
Senator, all I'm pointing out is the false claims against me.
Okay, I take it you do not want to answer that question. I walked into this hearing this morning concerned that you haven't demonstrated adequate leadership in your civilian roles. And this is a dangerous world we're living in here. And America cannot afford a Secretary of Defense who is unprepared for that mission. I'm going to leave with concerns about your transparency. You say you've had personal issues in your past, yet when asked about those very issues, you blame an anonymous smear campaign, even when many of these claims are not anonymous. Which is it? Have you overcome personal issues, or are you the target of a smear campaign? It can't be both. It's clear to me that you're not being honest with us or the American people because you know the truth would disqualify you from getting the job. And just as concerning as each of these specific disqualifying accusations are, what concerns me just as much is the idea of having a Secretary of Defense.
There is a moment in this hearing that should disqualify Pete Hegseth from serving as Secretary of Defense, and it is not the allegations themselves. It is his response to them. Senator Mark Kelly asked him a series of specific, dated, location-specific questions about his conduct while leading Concerned Veterans for America. Memorial Day 2014 in Virginia. Summer 2014 in Cleveland. An event in North Carolina. December 2014 at the Grand Hyatt in Washington, D.C. A party bus. A strip club in Louisiana. A financial settlement with a female staffer who accused another member of the organization of sexual assault. Hegseth's answer to every single question was the same. Anonymous smears. But they were not anonymous. Kelly had names. He had on-the-record statements. He had multiple witnesses who had come forward, many of whom had submitted their names to the committee. Hegseth knows this. His own written testimony acknowledges that he has had personal and character issues in his past, including heavy drinking. He has written about it. He has spoken about it. He told the committee that he sits before them as an open book. But when Kelly opened the book, Hegseth slammed it shut. He would not confirm or deny any specific allegation. He would not say, yes, that happened, and I've worked to overcome it. He would not say, no, that never happened, and here is my evidence. He hid behind a blanket denial of everything, calling it all anonymous, all false, all refuted. But if it's all false, why did he admit to having personal challenges? Why did he write about heavy drinking? Why did he tell Senator Coleman that he has struggled and overcome great personal challenges? Kelly's question was devastating because it exposed the contradiction at the heart of Hegseth's testimony. Which is it? Have you overcome personal issues, or are you the target of a smear campaign? It can't be both. If you have overcome personal issues, you can acknowledge the specific issues you overcame. You can say, yes, I drank too much. Yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I embarrassed myself and my organization. And here is what I learned. Here is how I changed. Here is why I am ready to lead. That is what accountability looks like. That is what an open book looks like. Hegseth did none of that. He refused to acknowledge any specific instance of misconduct. He refused to confirm or deny even the most basic allegations. He called them all anonymous smears, even when they came from named witnesses with on-the-record statements. That is not an open book. That is a locked vault. And then Kelly asked the question that should haunt Hegseth for the rest of his career. If you had to answer these questions under oath, would your answers be different? Hegseth refused to answer. He said again that the claims are false. But that wasn't the question. The question was whether the oath would change his answers. And his refusal to answer is itself an answer. It says that yes, under oath, he would have to be more careful. Under oath, he could not hide behind anonymous smears. Under oath, he would have to confirm or deny. Under oath, he would have to tell the truth. And he does not want to do that. Kelly ended his time with a conclusion that should be echoed by every senator who votes on this nomination. Hegseth is not being honest with the committee or the American people. He knows the truth would disqualify him. And a Secretary of Defense who is not transparent is a Secretary of Defense who cannot be trusted. The job of Secretary of Defense is not a reward for loyalty. It is not a promotion for good behavior. It is the most sensitive, most demanding, most consequential position in the cabinet, short of the presidency itself. The person who holds it is responsible for the lives of 1.3 million active duty service members, for the nuclear codes, for the defense of the nation against enemies foreign and domestic. That person must be able to tell the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. That person must be able to take responsibility, even when it is embarrassing. That person must be able to say, I made a mistake, and here is what I learned. Hegseth cannot do any of those things. When asked about his past, he deflects. When asked for specifics, he denies. When asked if he would answer differently under oath, he refuses to respond. That is not the behavior of a leader. That is the behavior of a man who has something to hide. Kelly walked into the hearing concerned that Hegseth had not demonstrated adequate leadership in his civilian roles. He walked out convinced that Hegseth is not being honest. The world is dangerous. America cannot afford a Secretary of Defense who is unprepared for the mission, and it cannot afford one who is unwilling to tell the truth.